And welcome to another week of Upon Further Review. I'm Josh Aubrey. Not letting the coronavirus pandemic keep us from bringing you some sports highlights or at least some interviews this week. We had a chance to talk with Georgia Southern head football coach Chad Lunsford about how the team is dealing with being apart and still being able to move forward and get some work in, even though they're being separated due to school being closed and the coronavirus pandemic. We had a chance to talk with him about how things are going. We're able to do that through a conference call. Thanks to the technology of today, we're also able to go to a virtual press conference as Georgia Southern Athletics Director Jared Benko was able to introduce us to the new head men's basketball coach Brian Burg, who comes to Georgia Southern from Texas Tech. We'll give you a little bit from that press conference. And we also had a chance to sit down with Georgia Southern defensive coordinator Scot Sloan and head coach Chad Lunsford about how the Eagles look on the defensive side of the ball as they approach the 2020 season coming up. We'll have that and much more in just a moment. And a reminder before we go to break, hopefully you'll never be in an accident, but if so, please give our friends at the Sullivan Law Firm a call, 912-489-8888, or online at thesullivanlawfirm.com.
The Medical Center Pharmacy on Grenade Street is proud to be your Health Mart pharmacy in Statesboro. The Medical Center Pharmacy, locally owned and serving this community for 50 years, is open 364 days a year. The pharmacists at Medical Center know there's nothing more important than your family's well-being. That's why they take the time to know their customers, explain their medications, and answer any questions. The Medical Center Pharmacy, your Health Mart pharmacy. Health Mart, caring for you and about you.
Trust your eyes to the team that takes care of the Eagles. Professional Eye Care of Statesboro offers a full range of medical eye care, in addition to a wide assortment of glasses, sunglasses, and contact lenses to suit your style.
I'm Dr. Horace Deal. Allow me or one of my associates to provide you with comprehensive medical eye care. And we can help you select from a variety of glasses and contact lenses here at Professional Eye Care of Statesboro.
Well, the coronavirus pandemic keeping Georgia Southern players and coaches from all gathering together, but we had a chance to talk with Georgia Southern head coach Chad Lunsford about how the Eagles are dealing with this and how they are trying to get them workouts and things to keep them progressing towards the 2020 season.
Very positive about the way things are going. It's very easy right now to get negative if you want to get negative, but that's not our style and that's not what we're going to be. We're going to have a lot of faith. We're going to have a lot of belief. And we know one day we'll get the GATA again and looking forward to that day. I believe we'll play college football this fall. I don't have anything to base that off of other than the fact that, I think that our guidance on how to defeat this thing and if everybody, obviously complies and tries to do things right, I think it'll get here faster than we think and have that opportunity to play. So I'm always going to venture on the side that it's going to happen. In my opinion, there's three things that you really, your guys have to be ready to train. And then when they're training, they got to be ready to practice. And then when they practice, they got to be ready to play. And I'm not sure that's the same for everybody, and it's not the same for each individual. So we got to be very mindful of their health and safety. We got to be very mindful of, their bodies being ready to compete in a sport that is very violent. I know we've got to make sure that we've got enough time for them to build the strength in their bodies and make sure they're ready to go out there and run around and be physically prepared to compete at football. Back in the old days, you didn't have summer school. You didn't have the opportunity to have them here, and you'd bring them back for training camp, and they'd be those conditioning tests and to see what they did on their own. So it may end up being a lot like that. Who knows? But the unfortunate part is some of our guys, where they're at right now, they can't get in the gym. They can't do those things that they need. They're doing a lot of body weight stuff, and they're doing a lot of running because they obviously can make that happen. So, but I'm very positive that when we get them back, they're going to be in better shape than we think, because I think our guys are really working. The NCAA just now came out that would allow us to do film instruction with them. So the only thing that we've done the first couple of weeks since online instruction with classes went back into effect is we've made sure our guys, constantly checking with them every day to make sure that their classwork, the online classes, everything that they have to do is lined up and they're not missing things. And so we put a lot of attention on that for the last 2 weeks. Yesterday we had a team meeting. We had some position meetings. I know some of our coaches were able to talk a little ball with them, and they were able to get their video from the last spring scrimmage and talk with them a little bit about some plays and things like that. But a lot of us are learning as we go right now, because it's just, it's just different. And but the great thing is, coaches, players, all of us do a good job of adapting and trying to find a way. At this time, we cannot make anything mandatory. Everything has to be voluntary. But we are allowed to push out the workouts to them. He does, we have a communication system called Teamworks, and he's able to push out the workouts and all that to them. And but there's nothing there that we say, hey, you have to show us you did this or anything like that. We're not allowed to do that right now. But he is using that Teamworks. He's using text messages. He's using email format and things like that. He can also, show a demonstration of what maybe something looks like. He can send that to them, but he can't have them send it back showing him that they're doing it.
And stay with us. Coming up next, we'll go to a virtual press conference held at Georgia Southern, where they were introducing the new head men's basketball coach, Brian Burg.
Can you tell us a little more about the presidency?
Hey, so here's what it is. Hey, Sherelle! Hey, y'all still have that barbecue this weekend? All right, come give me a $5 plate now. Now, where were we?
You were telling us a little more about the presidency.
Right, so listen, my job here is to make floors in America look great again. That being said, flooring is literally the foundation of this great country. So if you're on the market and you want some more flow for your dough, take a second and vote Mo.
My Queensboro banker is Cheryl Quick.
Blanchard Equipment Company has 16 locations.
Queensboro has homegrown values just like us.
They get heavily involved in every community.
And that means strong customer service.
They've been around a long time, just like John Deere.
When you run across the bank like that, you stick with them.
I sure would like to own one of these John Deeres.
Well, we can sure make that happen.
Oh, well.
Queensboro is your community bank. Queensboro National Bank and Trust.
Well, recently, the Georgia Southern Eagles announced that Brian Burg will be taking over the reins as the new head men's basketball coach. We weren't able to actually be there at the press conference, but we're able to get you video and we're able to ask some questions of head coach Brian Burg as well as athletics director Jared Benko.
I've worked my whole life for this opportunity. This is an absolute dream come true. There's been a lot of sacrifices over the last 17 years, and I feel very fortunate to be here. I'm just getting started. I got a huge chip on my shoulder every day that I wake up, and I'm not going to let you guys down. Georgia Southern's going to be a winner. We're going to compete for championships year in and year out, and we'll play meaningful games in the month of March. I'd go to the Final Four and have opportunities just to meet people. I started my career, like I mentioned earlier, at a junior college, 5 different jobs on campus, from running a concession stand to a dorm director to an SID to an academic tutor. And then today, being named the head coach at Georgia Southern University, it's beyond words. It's also inspiration to young coaches out there that if you follow your dreams, you follow your passion, this can happen to you as well. So I'm very thankful and I'm very grateful for this opportunity. I think Hanner's a gold mine. I think you can win big-time games. You're going to pack the facility. We're going to pack the facility. We'll get the community involved. There'll be some excitement. How do you do that? You also do it on campus. You get your teams involved. You get the students involved. But Hanner's going to be packed. I vividly remember walking across the court and realizing how tough of a place Hanner is to play whenever we were at Little Rock. And we had a really good team. But by far, Hanner is the toughest place to play in the Sun Belt, and we're excited about this year doing that as well. Every place I've been doubted. I can assure you that. If you think back to our Texas Tech days, they laughed at us whenever we said we're going to go to a Final Four. How do you achieve those goals? You work every single day. You roll your sleeves up, you get your hands dirty, you have a plan, and you execute that plan. Once you're able to execute that plan, you're going to end up having successful day after day, and that's going to correlate to wins. So I'm excited about this opportunity. I'll get my message across to these players. I'll build great relationships because I'm a relationship guy. And I think the sky's the limit. Like I said earlier, Georgia Southern is a hidden gem. And very fortunate again for this opportunity.
Obviously, there have been some changes in the program here in the last couple of days with Calvin Wishart and Quan Jackson choosing to enter the transfer portal. We found that out on social media. How does that, or does that change the vision you had for the team entering next season?
I'm a relationship guy. I hit the ground running whenever I got here, and I've been on the phones nonstop. It's important to build relationships, and relationships take time. So it's a very unique situation that we're in. I've had the ability to talk to all the players on the roster. I feel good about the direction that we're moving. I can assure you, in due time, whenever we fill our roster, we're going to have a group of guys that are bought in completely to our vision. And I'm talking to Calvin, talking to these guys on a day-to-day basis, and I'm going to work my butt off to have a great relationship. From that, you're going to be able to have success. So I'm excited about the direction of the program. I'm excited where we are right now.
Zoom meetings, conference calls, and whatnot. So towards the middle and then the end of the interview process, it had to change up a little bit. So it had its challenges, but listen, to be quite frank with you, just keeping a healthy perspective, there's a lot more things going on right now in the country. They're a lot more serious than hiring a basketball coach. So to me, it was more about trying to make sure we exercise due diligence and do it the right way and a responsible way. And so while I mentioned obviously meeting Brian earlier this week, not having a chance to meet him before we offered him, it was the right thing to do and it was the responsible thing to do. So when you start looking at fit and you start talking to people in the country, his name came up time and time again. And so you're always doing your research. You're looking at, hey, who's the top assistant coaches, who's some of the top head coaches that would fit our program. And his name, I know that The Athletic and other magazines and publications have recognized his hard work over the years. And so you're always checking out and you're always keeping a pulse on who are the top assistant coaches in various sports and other coaches in general. And so when his name started coming up time and time again for people I know and trust, and you start doing your research, and the more you kind of, it's like peeling back an onion a little bit, the more you start to like just the qualities he exudes and how he, obviously his track record that he brings to the table. And so I think it was a combination of just doing research and talking to people. And when you start hearing the same name and the consistent themes and messages and the attributes I brought up earlier that continue to come up, well, then to me, it was kind of a no-brainer, like this is a serious guy we need to really look into. I think at first and foremost, you always want to bring in a head coach that's going to understand the true student-athlete success meaning. What does that mean? And again, I touched on it earlier. To me, student-athlete success is not only graduating them and helping propel them in life to be successful adults and citizens, but more importantly, when they come back at 30, 35, they can come back and thank the coach for teaching them accountability and discipline and all the things they need to be successful in life. And so to me, it was from the get-go, whether we had 6 seniors or no seniors, it was about the right fit. And it was about finding the right coach that had the right attributes to take us to heights, quite honestly, we haven't seen in 30-plus years. And so to me, the roster makeup, obviously talking to different coaches is important to kind of have an idea where we're at as a program. But at the end of the day, the intangibles and the values I talked about earlier, really for me were non-negotiables. And so I set out to find the best coach. And make no mistake, we talk about student-athlete success and ensuring we get the right student-athletes here. But I want to win just as bad as Brian does, and we're going to win with integrity and doing it the right way. And so ensuring someone that, when you look at Brian and he's won everywhere he's been, and he's done it at a high level of success in and out of the classroom, he really just matched up perfectly where we're at right now as a program.
And stay with us. Coming up next, we'll check in with how the Eagles will be looking on defense coming up in the 2020 season as we sit down with defensive coordinator Scot Sloan, and head coach Chad Lunsford. 180 Fitness prides itself on offering the best facility, classes, programs, and staff in Statesboro. More than just a gym, they're a family. Knowledgeable staff always on site to help you, free group fitness classes, over 45 to choose from, free supervised child care, work out worry-free while they watch your children. With the new expanded weight floor, cardio equipment, and resistance machines, 180 has everything you need. The only gym in Statesboro with a sauna, the Evolve Training System offers both small group and one-on-one training to fit any budget. Located inside 180 is Statesboro's best kept secret, The Zone. The Zone is an inspiring community where you are motivated, supported, and celebrated through a unique fitness experience. With the use of heart rate monitor, you're able to train in your own individualized zone while tracking real-time results. The combination of cardio, endurance, and strength workouts will give you the lasting results you've been looking for. Your first class is free. Your body, your zone, real results. Come see why 180 Fitness has been voted the best of the borough for the last 12 years. Family Internal Medicine Associates of Statesboro, providing primary care for Statesboro area patients since 1998, providing complete physicals, complete sports physicals, Medicare wellness exams, full diabetes treatment, and education from lifestyle changes to oral medications to insulin pump therapy, in-house dermatology, in-house circulation tests and ultrasounds, and in-house labs. Featuring nurse practitioner Melissa Beasley, Family Internal Medicine of Statesboro can accommodate same-day or next-day appointments to serve your needs. Family Internal Medicine Associates of Statesboro, where we care.
A sports injury can stop you in your tracks. At Optum Orthopedics, our specialized physicians and staff use advanced orthopedic procedures with one specific goal in mind: to get you back to you. If you have a sports injury, request an evaluation. Experience the Optum difference.
No credit refused isn't just an offer, it's a way of business and has been for over 100 years. No banks, no ridiculous credit requirements, just local Badcock store owners who treat you right and give you credit when others won't. It's never been easier to express your style and love your home.
Well, the Georgia Southern defense loses a couple of key positions and players from last year's team, but they should be looking pretty good as they return quite a few up front and in the linebacker core. We had a chance to talk with defensive coordinator Scot Sloan about how things are looking for the upcoming 2020 football season.
Well, as we got into the off-season self-study and self-scout stuff, I would give different grades rather than just clumping it all together, because break it down as we looked at run defense, it was consistent. I think we finished third in the conference in 18, finished second in the conference this past year. Pass defense was something that got worse as far as where we ranked in the conference, so that's something that we'll address this spring, and as always, it's going to be a challenge continuing to address it because of the nature of what we face offensively in the spring and in training camp, so that's something where we as coaches have to figure out the why and address it and get that fixed. 2018, we're not very good on third down and made tremendous strides. I think we went from maybe 7th in the conference to 2nd in the conference as a third down defense. So that was huge, because at the end of the day, you got to get yourself off the field and win third down. So we took a step back in red zone. So, again, that's something to address. So as you looked at the different pieces from a run defense to pass defense, red zone defense, third down, first down, and so forth, the different categories that are tracked, and then even things that we fabricate ourselves, there's pieces that made improvement, and we saw some strides. We saw some strides in individual players, saw some strides as far as different pieces of the defense, but there's always room for improvement. And the thing I always refer to the guys is there's a gap between where we are and where we want to be, and that's what every offseason is all about, is closing that gap. It's a mystery position. We feel like we've signed some good players, some talented players, but they're inexperienced, and there's no substitute. You can't fabricate experience, and you won't be able to fabricate it in the spring or in training camp. So, we'll coach them hard, we'll work them, we'll develop them. I think it will be a nice indicator for us as far as which guys apply themselves and take ownership, and that's the thing that we've challenged them, in our position meetings that we've had so far is your development, your mental IQ, your football IQ, that's between you and you. We can only provide you with so much, but there's got to be some ownership outside the classroom as far as studying their notes and studying their installs. So it's a talented group, but it's an unproven group, and it's a mystery group, and that's something that we will definitely be grading pretty hard in spring and all the way through training camp. Going back to Josh's first question, I thought one thing that we really struggled with in 2018 was being a pressure team, and we were able to, I thought, generate more pressure this year defensively. That was a problematic area we went into last spring. Said we've got to be able to be more pressure oriented, especially on third down, and so we just made a conscious effort. Hey, we're going to do it. It may not be great versus the option, but we're going to do it and get these guys to learn how to pin their ears back and learn how to be blitz-oriented, pressure-oriented, and we felt like we saw the fruits of that labor.
I think the biggest thing as a football team, we got to make sure our consistency is better. We can't be 1 week this and then 1 week that as far as when it comes as the mindset. So a lot of things that we can look back on last year, get our guys focused in on and say, hey, these are the things that we've got to work on situationally, schematically, the different things like that. So there's plenty of things we can point at. I do think there's some positives that came out. I do think we do have a tough group that has a chip on their shoulder that wants to prove that they can have a better record than we had last year.
All right, Mike, well, that'll wrap things up for now. We thank you for joining us and hope to see you again next week. And that'll wrap it up for this week's show. Coming up next week, we're going to be hearing a little bit more from Chad Lunsford about how the Eagles are dealing with being apart and still trying to move forward with things for the upcoming season. And we also were able to sit down with Statesboro High head basketball coach Lee Hill to reflect on the past 40 years of Statesboro High Blue Devil basketball and the success they've had and some of the key players he's been able to coach. That'll wrap it up for now. Hope to see you again next week.